again. We will die for respect and status. You tell me we won't get married? We'll die for we'll go to the front line of a war, and the only reason we don't walk away and abandon our post as artillery shells rain is because we're afraid of being mocked for being a coward. We'll die for status. So status is what it's all about. It's what it's always been about. If you wanted a man to marry you, status. And it's the same thing with nearly anything you want to do with a man. I don't know anything about your personal life. I'll be honest. I don't know, right? But I'll tell you this now. If this dude, this NBA player, believed that he would be higher respected amongst his peers and amongst society for taking care of you properly, that's what he'd fucking do. He doesn't feel that because either he's rolling with the wrong people or you've pissed him off in a way or something public's happened. I don't have a clue. But something's happened where he feels like if I take care of her, I'll look like a bitch. That's what he's scared of. If it was inversed, he had no problem giving you money because that's how men function. I'm telling you right now, as a man, I'm telling you what I would do. If I had a chick with a woman, right? And she went on the news, top G's this and fucking, like I said, I have no idea what you've done, but I'm just giving my personal made-up scenario.
Oh, yeah.
She would go on the news, top G's this, and he fucking lied to me, he's a piece of shit, da-da-da. And then I bought her a Bentley, women's be like, well, look, she insults top G, she insults him, and he's a simp, da-da-da. But if she was like, you know what, he's misunderstood, he's a good guy, it just didn't work out, boom, 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 I'd bet she'd be in a mansion. Right? And would that be me being a nice guy caring about her? Or let's be honest, would it be me being a selfish piece of shit dude and saying, what makes me look better? Men are all about status. Is how we function. It's how we function as a whole. So society, this is where it extrapolates and gets interesting. When society with this new think has destroyed all of the baseline humanities and baseline understandings of how men interact with women. And now all the things we previously understood about what made a good man, what made a good woman, and how we should act together and how we should interact has been erased. Of course men are acting like dickheads, and of course women are doing wrong things because nothing makes sense anymore. You've taken the chessboard and moved all the fucking pieces around. Nobody gets it. It should be very simple. I'm a man. I work hard. I take care of my woman. I'm the man of the house. She treats me with respect. She would never insult me or raise her voice to me in front of other people. She's a problem. She brings it to me in private. We act as a team. We work together. If we break up, she was a good woman to me. She fulfilled her roles the best she possibly could. I'm still a man. I'm going to take care of her. But all of that is gone. All of it's gone. All of it. And it's gone because of all the ideas we were discussing earlier. The feminism, the new age bullshit, the fucking dudes left and right and center. All these things... All these baseline things have eroded society to the point where now you have men ignoring their paternal instinct. You have men who will sit there and go, that's my child, but I fuck her. That's actually a massive observation to make about how fucked up society is. And it shouldn't be that way because men in a lot of the world are not like that. And so you have to look at all these small things, the small things we talk about. It's no big deal. She goes on boats in Miami. It's no big deal. It is a big deal because now that dude ain't going to want to fucking pay child support because you were on those fucking boats with his fucking the other team.
And the thing is that
do you think that men...
That was well said, Sagittarius.
Thank you very much.
Do you think that men marry for like high status families? Like I'm thinking of like Ivanka Trump. Like would someone marry a girl for... like status in that way?
Well, that is one of the most, I mean, if you look at arranged marriages, it's all for status, right? That's an example. But men primarily marry for, I'd argue that men, and I say this about men, but women do the same thing, right? Women love the idea of getting status from a man. Mm-hmm. Women love the idea, and this is where it actually gets a bit messy. The waters get muddy because women love the idea of bragging about the man they're with, but they can only brag about the man they're with if other women want that man. So you're saying you love women who get cheated, women love getting cheated on. That's not true. But women do not like men that other women don't want. Mm-hmm. If you were to say, look, I got my man, he's perfect, he's rich, he da-da-da-da-da, and every girl in the room would go, I would never touch him. She'd be like, oh, shit. Oh, I don't want him either then. What the fuck
but
is
you
this?
know, can I add on top of that?
But it's true, right? No. Women want men that all the women want.
Do you know what's the best man that woman wants? Is the one that every girl wants, but he doesn't want them. Okay. A selective man.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's more valuable than the top
but that's
that
the
gets every
fantasy.
You're
host.
saying
That's
that
the
men,
fantasy.
But Tate,
no,
you're saying that men are now polygamous
selective.
and women should accept that. That's the problem. Men are continuously disrespecting their woman. Like, yeah, you know what? You can't be with one woman. Now you want to keep cheating with all these different women.
That's not what he said. He's saying if you're gonna go for a high status guy, if you're gonna go for the top 5% of guys, that's what comes with it. And if not, then go for the average guy.
Can I just say that before?
So is it okay for average guys to stick with one woman then?
It's not about okay. It's okay for anyone to do whatever they want. I'm not sitting here saying what's okay and what isn't okay. What I'm talking about is observations about the baseline realities of how humans function. What I'm telling is if you give a man unlimited options, like the men at the top of society have, on a long enough time scale, he will explore said options. That is a fact. Like I said earlier, you can walk into a car garage and buy a Nissan, and that's reliable, and it'll never let you down. Or you can buy a McLaren. You cannot sit, like women do, and go, I want the McLaren that's reliable like the Nissan. Well, guess fucking what? That's not real. So you have to choose.
Can I ask you something, Mr. Tate? Can I ask you something? Years ago, right, do you think it makes a difference? Because years ago, if you want to meet a man, you go out there and you actually talk. But now you meet a guy, he can go and check out your IG and see what you're all about. Don't you think that by them being able to look and see what you're all about, that makes a difference to how they perceive you?
100%. I think society is fundamentally and utterly broken. I think the way that men and women interact is broken. I think that men are broken. I think that women are broken. I think everything is completely fucked, genuinely. And this is where we go into the small things. We're talking about status. You're right about IG. If I go on a date with a girl and I look at her Instagram page, I'm sitting there thinking, does this make me look good or bad? Yes, I want her to be hot. Yes, I want her to have followers. Yes, I want everyone chasing her. But what's that caption about fucking city life? And what's this about? What's that? That's not, nah, that puts me off, right? So it's interesting. What's also interesting is the majority of women don't have a clue in the modern world what men find attractive. So we said earlier in the very beginning of this podcast about men who want their dick sucked and all this bullshit. Men don't, that's not attractive to men. We don't want any of that. Most women, if you were to say, how do you attract a man, they wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo. They wouldn't have an idea.
I know. They want a submissive woman.
Hello, my
she cooks for him. Give him some massage. Feed him grace.
It's not just, it's not even
pat his head.
It's not just about that. One of the important things for being a man, especially in a relationship, is we want to be our woman. If I have a woman and I love her, I want to be her portal to the world. I want her to experience things through me and see things through me. So for that, I need a degree of innocence and purity for her. I want to be the first person to put her on a private jet. I want her to get on the jet and go, wow, I did it. Oh, you took me. It's like you wouldn't want to give someone a Christmas present if they'd had 10 presents better than you beforehand. Yeah, would you? It's like, well, duh. Yeah. So as a woman, what makes you attractive to a man, to a degree, is your innocence and your purity. This is very important. And it can go down to very basic, simple things. I'll tell you, if I walk in a club, do you know who the hottest girl in the club? It's the girl who isn't dancing, isn't twerking on a fucking stage, not surrounded by dudes. When girls want male attention in a club, they start drinking, twerking. That is the most revolting, haram bullshit. I may want to fuck you, but I don't want to be with you. If you show me a girl sitting in the corner, shy, I'm like, good, she hasn't experienced too much life. I can show her things. And also, not just show her things. This is a very important point that I get attacked by the Matrix for because they completely misunderstand me on purpose. As a man, if I'm out here struggling and leading and trying to lead my household, I also want a woman who shares my values. I want to a degree to educate my woman and show her things and for her to agree with me. Like you said earlier, looking for a male role model. You want to be a role model to your woman. If she's too experienced with life, it's difficult to be a role model. If she's sitting there shy and quiet, you can come along and say, no, you know what? Don't take the fucking vaccine. Listen to me. And you can be a role model for her. You can't do that for a woman who knows too fucking much, knows too many dudes, been too many places. So it's this degree of purity that we're looking for that's super important.
I'm curious. If you said if she's like done too many things, that's like bad. Right?
Yes, correct.
So I'm not even talking sexually, like been on a private jet. Yeah. I'm curious because I lived
But how do you get on a private jet without sucking dick?
Oh, I was just curious because my dad's part of like he's top like 1% in terms of like income, and I was just curious, is it different if you did stuff with your dad?
Well, no, that's fine.
No, not like that. Not sexual. That's no. I meant like
you said private jet.
Yeah, private.
I know what you're saying. Well, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But my point is that we're looking for a true degree of innocence inside of females, and it's that innocence is going to make us feel protective over them, and that the protectiveness is going to make us be good men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when we're looking at society as a whole and how broken it is, I understand that men have a massive role to play, women have a massive role to play, but a lot of the paternal instincts and instinctual behaviors of men, because the instinctual behavior of man is to die for his woman. Mm-hmm. Like someone comes to try and take her, pull a sword, die to defend her, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going through life and you find that men don't really feel about you that way, that's because a lot of their instinct is being eroded by the fact that you, like you said, they look through your IG or they look through your life and you've lived so much life and they just feel like, there's nothing new I can bring to this girl's reality.
But I don't feel like that's true, though, because like I think it's like I get what you're saying to a degree, right? But it's like you could be on a private jet 10 times, but it's going to be special because it's with you.
Yeah. Not for him, it isn't. Not for him. For him, it's special because it's your first time. Because men Maybe it's a biological predisposition. Maybe it's just the way we're designed. But let's tie it back to sex. Virginity, first time. It's not that you've done it. It's that you've done it with the first time with me. That's what is important. It's experience as a whole that men find. It's just the truth. Call me misogynistic, cancel me, whatever. I'm telling the truth. I always have done. It's experience of life as a whole that men, to a degree, find off-putting. We don't want a woman who's had a bunch of trauma, had a bunch of experiences, done a bunch of shit, knows a bunch of people, been a bunch of places. That's the absolute opposite of what we want. We want the complete polar opposite of that. And what's funny is women want men who have done those things. I'll tell you right now. Go out there and find a virgin woman and say, do you want to have your first boyfriend? Do you want to lose your virginity to a virgin man or a man or a man who's had a couple girls? She'll choose a dude with experience as a virgin herself. Experience is always coveted and respected in men. It's the opposite in women.
That's true.
It's true. So we have to look at how fucked up the world is. Women, especially between their 18 and 28, or 18 and 25, let's say, are living these crazy lifestyles, these crazy lives with the most important people, richest people on the planet, doing everything that can be experienced under the sun. And then at 29, 30, some dude's expected to come along, know he's second place to X, Y, Z, and be happy with that. And not allow it to hurt his ego, and sit there and pick it up and put a fucking brave face on. It kills him every day inside. That's the reality. He's in love with you, and you've been fucking where with fucking who? I can't afford a jet. I'm Joe Schmo. Okay. That fucking breaks their hearts.
Do you think that hoes can ever be turned into housewives?
Okay, I'll answer that question, and the answer is actually, truthfully, yes. Which I know a lot of people are confused by. They can. If you're a good enough, high enough level man, you absolutely can turn a hoe into a housewife. But why the fuck would you? Because you don't have to. A man like me, I could, but I'm not low on options, so I would never decide to do that. If you're a billionaire, could you? You can find an old rusty car and rebuild it, or you can just buy a new one, right? So it's not about what could be done; it's about what will be done. So once women hit a certain status of man, I don't think women are stupid. I actually argue the fact that women have a beautiful intuition. I think that women, to a degree, their intuition is truly almost psychic. The number of times I've come home and she's like, "You were cheating," and I was like, "How the fuck does she know I'm fucking cheating?" Like, you have intuition and it's real. You guys are smart, right? And if they get to a certain echelon of man, they're not going to go anywhere because there's nowhere else to go. They're going to get to a guy eventually. They're going to stop at the buck and go, you know what? Where am I going to surpass this specimen? So I'm just going to behave for him. So you could turn a hoe into a housewife that way. But why would a man at that level want to do that?
Why do some guys at certain, and this is obviously a celebrity example, but I'm sure we can all think of examples in like day-to-day life where a guy with a lot of options does pick a hoe and like wife her, like for example, Kim and Kanye. Because Kanye clearly has options.
She did not want to be a housewife. No, she was a project.
Okay, I understand. I'm just asking. Because some guys do pick.
Yeah, they do. And it's a really good point. And I have nothing bad to say about Kanye. In fact, I think a lot of the work he's doing now in terms of attacking the Matrix is important. But I can give you a generalized answer. But it's a man who is not true to his masculine imperative, which is going to fall for the propaganda machine, which is being purported upon him, who's going to believe that all the crap that is being told by society, like a female's past doesn't matter and all this shit doesn't matter. This is what's interesting in the fight against the Matrix, because people always say to me, Andrew, why do you come here and say all these things? They're literally trying to destroy your life for what you say. And the truth is, as a man, you have two choices. You either fight against the programming and the brainwashing they're trying to put inside of all of our minds, or you end up fighting against yourself. If you're a man and you sit down and you believe the garbage that society is telling you about how society functions between men and women, you're going to end up getting fucking wrecked like these dudes do. They sit there and go, just because she's fucked everyone doesn't mean she'll do it again. Just because, and they sit there like dummies and they get fucking wrecked, right? You have to sit there as a man and go, no, I don't give a shit what society's telling me. I understand something baseline about humanity, right? And that's why they make these poor choices. And a lot of men do make these poor choices, but it's only in the West. It's only in the West where this propaganda machine exists. You will not find a Russian billionaire doing this dumb shit. You will not find a Chinese billionaire doing this dumb shit. You do not go to Saudi and find a sheikh doing this dumb shit. None of it. You only find it in the West.
Do you think the values of the West are spreading?
What values?
So
name a value of the West.
Sorry.
Name a value.
Sorry, I might have misspoke.
Ideals.
I mean, like the ideas of the West. Like I've just gotten I get messages from people like from all over, and like in places like India, I've heard feminism is spreading there. Like I've heard that. Do you not find that to be true?
So firstly, the West has no value. The only thing the West seems to defend fervently is LGBT. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm not. I'm just saying it's the only thing that they'll stand up and fight for. I don't know why. It's weird. Like this, they don't care about anything else. They don't care about children going without child support. They don't care about people dying in wars. They don't care about our parents being in parenting homes. They don't care about crime. They don't care about no one being able to pay their energy bills. They don't care about nothing. But they give a shit for some reason about this one thing, and they'll fucking throw the flag all around the world.
Which is, again, surrounded around sex.
That's all they care about. It's fucking strange. So that's the first thing about the values of the West. Second thing, the harder society and the harder the life is as a whole, the longer it's going to take for feminism to spread. Feminism only exists in a vacuum of an easy life. If you're living in a society like India where life is hard, feminism disappears because the harder life is, the closer people naturally revert to their gender roles. If you got a bunch of 10 men, 10 women, stranded them on a desert island, and they had to survive, very quickly the men would do men shit and the women would do women shit. There'd be very little talk about feminism and equality, and all this shit would fucking vanish when shit hits the fan, right? So in countries where life is harder, feminism can't take hold because feminism can only exist in a vacuum of a very privileged life. I'm sure there's some kid in India who didn't get laid off some chick and he's complaining she's a feminist. There's a bunch of dumb shit, right? But I think the world is going to get a lot harder. I think the world is cyclical. I think it's been easy for a while. I think hard times are coming. And when hard times come, people are going to naturally revert to what gives them the highest chance of survival, which is gender roles, right? I have the best chance of survival being a man, and a woman has the best chance of survival being my woman. That's how she's going to function.
Do you think women typically are happier as housewives rather than a career?
Well,
depends on the career.
No,
depends on the man.
The answer is absolutely and utterly yes, because giving life is the most beautiful thing a female can do. That's what you've evolved to do. That's the thing that men cannot do. I think that women who focus on having children and do their best to be good mothers in the end are the happiest females on the planet.
Being a mother and being a housewife is kind of different, though.
Okay, no, but it's essentially the same thing. If you're a housewife long enough, I'm going to assume you're going to end up having children. And I think that the sooner a woman has children, the better. If she can find a good man and have a child, that's a fantastic thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I don't see the point in a woman slaving away for a corporation that doesn't care about her as opposed to slaving away for her own flesh and blood. I think that's a complete waste of a life. I think if men are already doing that, why would you want to go along and do that as well?
Because a career is not just slaving away for a corporation. A career can involve a million different things.
Well, that's exactly what a career is. It's slaving away for a corporation that doesn't care about you. And I understand you have to pay the bills, and I understand you don't want to be completely sufficient. You want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to be dependent on a man. I understand all that. But in an idealistic scenario, in the vacuum of ideology, if you could sit and be a woman and focus on having children or focus on doing a job, I think on a long enough time scale, you're going to be much happier with your progeny as opposed to working a job.
Can I ask you a question? Because I feel like we talk a lot about hoes. We talk about a lot of the extreme. There's a lot of gray matter in the middle.
Sure.
Where a lot of women kind of get lost.
Yep.
For example, I think that one of the issues sometimes that I hear a lot about, and I personally may say I feel it sometimes, is that when you're also a quite educated woman, intellectual, intelligent, whatever, smart, a lot of the time, naturally, you speak in a way that stands out from other people, right? And I find that a lot of the time, that kind of intimidates some of the man them, where they start thinking, this girl is a bit too much. Now, it is not my fault that I'm smart. It's not my fault that I can put one and one together very nicely, very quickly. What kind of man is going to be able to handle that?
I have to give me a minute.
This woman laughs like I don't speak 4 languages and got 3 degrees. Now I thought.
Wait, is she trying to say you're not smart?
It's okay. I speak how I do for a reason. So please, sir, can you help me out? I'm trying to find a husband, the kind of beast that can handle a woman like me.
Well, this is another point, right? And I'm only answering generally, right? Because this is the first time I've met all of you ladies. You've all been very polite to me. You've all been very nice. I'm just talking generally. And I'm going to answer it based on your last sentence. Your last sentence was handle a woman like me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the average man's life, like I just discussed earlier, how difficult it is, how competitive he has to be, and how many problems he has to fix. Do you think he wants to handle any woman?
Okay, so...
Do you, like the idea of any degree of problem? It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like the point of having a woman as a man, for me at least, is for her to be my peace and quiet. My life is stress. You see me, I'm rolling around with fucking security teams, and I got problems, and they're after me. And when I come home to my chick, the last thing I want to do is have to handle anything. I want her to just sit the fuck down and her make me happy. She used to be my positive energy. She used to be my sunshine in the rainstorm.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible.